Boom! And with that, a very, very warm welcome to the Found Her Spotlight series in association with Simplified.ai, which is a fantastic marketing tool that you can use to turbocharge your content marketing. Today, in our 10th episode, where for the last 10 weeks we've been on this journey every Wednesday, bringing to you different experts, thought leaders, founders, all of them being fantastic power women. Today, we have one more very, very special expert with us. Ankita Bhatia Dhawan. She is the Vice President of Marketing at Touchstone, which is a global YouTube first video marketing agency. With an illustrious career spanning various roles from marketing and process automation to corporate training, Ankita is currently at the forefront of large global brands at Touchstone. As a marketing leader, she seamlessly blends her love for storytelling with a profound understanding of business, navigating the complexities of digital marketing, content creation, and brand strategy. A very warm welcome, Ankita.
Thank you, Avneet. Thank you so much for having me over. It's my pleasure to be participating and having this conversation with you.
I'm so happy you made it, and I'm so curious because I know that you are the queen of YouTube, and that is a mystery platform for us at NQA. We've tried to do it, we've tried a bunch of different times and failed at it miserably. So I'm waiting to, dig into your brains and understand which part of YouTube, what do we need to know in 2023? Because, of course, YouTube has been one of the most video marketing, yes, but it's one of the most mature platforms as well, right? It came around the
I
same
agree.
time as Facebook, and Facebook has become something else only now versus what it started. But before I get into that, I want to hear your journey, right? How did you get where you're at? Because our intent with this entire series is to motivate, inspire, and bring forward role models that are women doing crazy stuff in different industries. So, talk to us about your professional journey across the different roles that you've had.
Sure. What led me into marketing is a very interesting story. It's a story of those countless millennials in India who decide to study engineering first and then figure out what to do with their lives. So
Classic.
I'm one of those. Yeah, classic indeed. I'm one of those. So I studied telecom engineering and I started my career. My first job was a network planning engineer at a telecom company in India. It was Reliance Communications. And while I was there, I was actually working more on process optimization projects than actual network planning projects. I just fell into one of those. And then I got an opportunity to be a part of a think tank that was invited to do projects which were completely outside that domain. So network planning team was asked to do a marketing theory project. And that was a project that changed the trajectory of my career. When my project was done and I presented it to the head of marketing then, she said, okay, I like what you're saying. Do you actually want to do this? And I said, yeah, I would love to. I've always been creative. And she said, okay, there's a vacancy in my team. So if you want to join, come on board and actually do all of this. And then that was that. And here I am doing marketing.
That's
Not looked back
amazing.
since then.
That's the thing, right? Like with so many of us, when we start out in our careers, there are some people who know exactly what they want to do. And, they go out there and they do it. And then there are those
Yeah.
people who are just like not very sure, but they're open and they try, different things and ultimately kind of find a combination of one, what they enjoy and also what they're good at. right? And that's, I mean, so many people, and there are also that bucket of people who keep, shuttling different things and don't find
Yeah,
uh, their calling. So I'm glad that
yeah,
worked out for you. And with engineering, I think it just kind of builds that process mindset, right? Where you become very
yeah.
methodical with the way you think and do things.
It helped me definitely because I like to call myself a creative geek. Very creative, but also I have an analytical bent of mind. I enjoy art as much as I enjoy coding. And this is something that's helped me find that sweet spot in digital marketing and marketing operations and digital campaign management, where you have to know about the technical aspects as much as about the psychology of marketing, and have that creative bent to take a call whether this is a good creative or a bad creative. So yeah, it I think I found my sweet spot there.
Good. And talk to us about, marketing. How have you seen it evolve? I mean, I remember when we were in school, we used to have what textbooks taught us versus what real life kind of panned out, especially with social media coming in, is
Yeah,
very different, right? So, how have you
it is.
seen this evolve, and how do you look at marketing today?
Since my marketing experience largely, rather than barring the first stint, which was field marketing, I've done ATL, BTL, actual hoardings and ads. This was way back before 2010. Um, the latter part has all been within digital marketing. So I'll speak to that. Digital marketing has grown in leaps and bounds. The digital marketing that was happening in 2014 is no longer relevant in 2023 or 2024. Uh, Things like marketing operations were not even known as a stream, and it's a recognized branch of marketing today. There are experts in marketing operations. So it's things have really evolved. There are niches within niches of marketing skill sets available. And from a martech platform perspective, I think if you guys follow chiefmartech.com, you will see that there are perhaps 30,000 or more marketing platforms that exist today. And these are SaaS platforms and services, and there is so much catering to a single use case that it can all get a little overwhelming. So today, I think marketing is a very, very competitive landscape. There's so many different channels available. As a marketing leader, one of the decisions you have to constantly make is, where do I go? Where do I put my resources behind? So every brand, every business has a limited resource budget to spend, whether it's people, whether it's money that you're going to put behind your campaigns. So, where do you go? Where do you put your efforts? What is the messaging? How do you do targeting? And the ever evolving privacy laws. So, we've been talking about cookies going away. And then a few months back, Google changed the deliverability rules. So, the cold email marketing as we know it is going to change in 2024. So, yeah, constantly evolving, constantly changing. It is like constantly juggling on a treadmill, I would say. Today's digital marketing.
Ankita, there's a comment that's come in. Could you elaborate the difference between ATL, BTL? So above the line, below the line, I get it, but just for the interest, I mean, intent of our users, if you
Sure.
could throw some light on that.
So very simple. When I was starting out in marketing, this was one of the first questions that I asked, and said above the line is where you do a mass reach out, and below the line is more targeted, especially when you're doing field marketing. So when you're doing advertising, radio, where you're reaching out to a mass audience, that's above the line. BTL was back then flyers, posters, hoardings, which would be seen by smaller. And most digital activities today are kind of BTL because they're more targeted.
Gotcha. Okay. And now with digital marketing coming in, where would you classify that? BTL?
I
Or
would
is it
say
like
it's
a whole different
BTL
world?
because it gets targeted. Yeah, because it you can target, you can measure, right? That's where I would say it goes in. Yeah.
Ankita, let's also take a moment to kind of think of tech, right? Like, how has that kind of revolutionized the world of marketing? Like you mentioned, there are 30,000 different tools, right? And we have, women at different stages in their business. So many of them are just starting out, so many of them who are established and want to optimize their budgets. So, how do you look at a person? How can they leverage tech in marketing? Are there any favorite tools that are the, go to tools for you?
Yes. How can you leverage tech? I would say by hiring expertise in tech. Um, for any entrepreneur, it's really a great idea to get a marketing person on board early on. And having somebody who understands marketing operations, has had experience with marketing operations, or is at least aware, MOPS aware, is a good idea. And there are a lot of collectives and freelancers and agencies today that will allow you to work with a marketing operations tech expert um, for projects, or for, if you don't need somebody full time, or you are at that stage of your business where you cannot afford somebody full time, either because of budget constraints or because you don't have enough work to fill them up completely, then hire somebody part time who can look at what marketing tech platform is best for you. Basic requirement is a map or a marketing automation platform, um, and that needs to talk to your CRM. So, any entrepreneur, any business needs to have a CRM, even if it is something as simple as a smart spreadsheet where you capture your customer data. You need to take that information and bring it to your marketing. So, depending on your business objectives, depending on uh, how much fine tuning of your marketing is required, what is the nuance, the the platforms can be chosen. Uh, I really like HubSpot for entrepreneurs and people who want to get started. A, because they have a CRM and a marketing operations automation platform rolled into one. B, because it has several tiers. You can start off for free, uh, and as you scale your business, you can scale your subscription with them. Get the feature, pay for only the feature that you need, going all the way up to enterprise grade. But for somebody who's starting their business, HubSpot is a great option. Um, then there are Zoho CRM is a great option. Go
I
High
just
Level is a
moved
great
to Begin
option.
this week for my coaching business. I just moved everything. I mean, we use Zoho at Incubate, but I started using Begin, their new product for CRM, this week
Okay.
for my coaching business. So, yeah.
So, and these are platforms that are doing really well in terms of integrating data, bringing everything at one place. And it's different from an enterprise level, because at an enterprise level, you have several different teams that they need access to different data, and having a different platform works at an enterprise level. But when you're talking about entrepreneurs, you're talking about smaller businesses, you don't need to log into five different platforms to get five different aspects of your business. So that's why these platforms really work well.
Super. Ankita, let's come to platforms, right? And let's take
Yeah.
a moment. I mean, we've looked at marketing as a large umbrella. And now, if we were to kind of delve deeper into digital marketing, social media is a huge part of it, right?
Yeah.
Content creation is a huge part of it. Today, each
Agreed.
platform kind of comes with its own, you know, you can say behavior and its own aesthetic. So there was a time I know that Instagram was only pictures. Today it's like only video and
Yeah.
reels and stories. There was a time we would go to YouTube only for music, and now we go to YouTube for podcasts and long format content, right?
Yeah.
Facebook is where we connected with friends. Now it's just groups and communities and ads that you essentially see it. So, how do you
Yeah.
see the world of social media? Like, how do you think it has evolved? And, for entrepreneurs who are looking to build a personal brand, to, market their businesses, especially, let's say, D2C, how do you see them leveraging these different platforms to grow individually and at a business level?
Sure. Like you said, platforms have completely evolved since the time they started. They each have their own algorithm, they each have their own nuance. And I want to talk about YouTube specifically. You mentioned that we went to YouTube only for music earlier on, and now there's a bunch of how to's. Anything you want to know how to do, I think there is a tutorial available on YouTube, right? From how to tie a bow tie to how to do the top knot or how to do your nails, how to fix my car. Everything is available, right? So what has happened is that YouTube has grown as more than a social media platform. And brands today need to recognize that. I think creators are a little ahead of the game than brands. Um, but people in marketing sometimes, brands, they call YouTube a social media platform. Sometimes they call it a search engine. Sometimes, they call it as a platform to store their video content. It's available for free. Is it all that? Yes. But I also feel that, we've all heard that the whole is greater than the sum of its individual parts. So,
Mm.
together as a platform, YouTube allows you a lot more. It allows community building, it allows live streaming, it allows shopping, and search capabilities are unparalleled. In fact, when you look at other platforms, um, the shelf life of a typical YouTube video is 20 days. Instagram is 4 hours. TikTok is about an hour. LinkedIn is a day. So there is a huge difference in the longevity of posts on the platform. But having said that, as a marketer, I always say that put your money where your audience is. I am a B2B marketer. My clientele is sitting on LinkedIn. So my efforts are focused on LinkedIn. And
But
the entrepreneurs that are using social media, or they want to use social media either to grow their personal brand or to grow their business, I think the first thing they have to realize is where their target audience is sitting, where can they build a community, and irrespective of the platform, community can be built on LinkedIn, the community can be built on Facebook, even on YouTube. So wherever your audience is lurking, make sure that you're present there first. And a classic mistake is to stretch yourself too thin. Just be present across all platforms.
guilty of that. Been through that. And how? Like
I
I got frustrated, Ankita, because almost so I had taken a complete break. I mean, I would spend 10 years in media, right? And I wouldn't be who I was, I think, digitally if it wasn't for Facebook at the time. And organically, just my personal profile without doing anything. I had like some 26,000 followers at that time, which was a big shit. Okay. And then I went
Yeah,
quiet on Facebook, I mean, on social media altogether for like 2 years. And when I restarted, I was like, oh my God, this entire world has shifted.
has changed.
And everything that I had on Facebook was irrelevant. And for me, I didn't have experts or, anyone to guide me. So I started
Yeah,
Instagram and I started, Facebook again. And there was a Facebook page and a profile. And there was,
yeah,
LinkedIn is very, very recent. It's only a 2 year, 2.5 year journey for me. But after doing creating content for almost a year and a half on Instagram, on Facebook pages, then I found LinkedIn and I was like, oh, this is where my audience sits. This is where I should be. So it was a lesson that I
yeah,
learned really late. YouTube again, tried it a bunch of times. And I think that's where a lot of people still have a question, right? Because if we look at large creators, whether they're dancers or singers or beauty artists or whatever that is, these guys started like almost 10, 14 years, 15 years ago. Today,
yeah.
would you still advise YouTube, for people who are like, is it too late to start on YouTube?
No, it's never too late to begin. And the early adopters definitely they have an advantage. The first mover advantage, like Touchstorm, for example. We took a bet on YouTube in 2007. That is
Wow.
before the days of broadband. And back then, I think we were perhaps the only large global agency that was completely focused on YouTube. We invested a lot of our resources in building that skill set and understanding the platform. And that's how we got to work with some of the best brands globally. Um, but over time, the playing field levels out, right? Today, there are lots of agencies who have YouTube expertise who offer similar services to what we did back then. We we like to say that we wrote the playbook for channel management, and today everybody follows our playbook. You know, allow us our vain moment. But that's what it is. And today there are lots of agencies. So people catch up. So whether it's a creator, whether it's an entrepreneur trying to build a personal brand, or whether it's a business, um, I don't think the thought that I'll forever be playing catch up to my competitors should hold you back. Definitely get started on YouTube. It's a great platform. Like I was saying earlier, there are a lot of capabilities, a lot of things that you can do on the platform. And growth on the platform depends on several factors. I would say that your niche is the biggest one. What is your niche? How many people are interested in what you're offering? How many people are actually searching for what you're offering? And I'll give you an example. Like if you're a brand that, say, restores and resells vintage luxury watches, your target audience is smaller, and your growth rate will be impacted. It's not going to be as fast as somebody who does, let's say, apparel or sneakers. While handbags, it's all in the same category, but a wider interest level will help you grow fast. So niche definitely matters a lot. And then how often do you update your content? With what frequency you can put in your content? And more importantly, how well does your audience connect with your content? How well does it resonate with them? And I'm saying audience, not just subscribers, even people who are not subscribed to your channel, but who are looking for similar content. And lastly, of course, is how much of paid media support you can put behind your growth efforts. So, that definitely helps. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that brands should see YouTube as this something to be scared of. There's a big opportunity, there's room for everyone. Definitely going to explore
Ankita, I wish someone would have told me because, on my YouTube today, I am an individual, right? So I was doing content creation on my own to essentially create awareness about coaching, the different things that I do, etc. And I would have, I think, almost like 200 odd videos sitting on YouTube of different durations. And it was all organic, right? I didn't put in any money in paid marketing, which probably today in hindsight was a mistake. So my question to you would be, if someone was starting out today, right, could you delve deep into, some platform insights that people should know, right? How should they think? Like you said, like knowing that your audience and your niche is important. But
it.
apart from that, what duration of content, how do you start? Is there a certain frequency of videos that you should put out?
Yeah.
Do you need to hire an SEO expert now to keep like optimizing that content? Should you put ads? When should you put ads? Could you throw some light on that?
Sure. I would say even before you begin and you start thinking about all the technical aspects of YouTube as a platform, think about your goal on YouTube. That's perhaps a step that gets missed, and it's very easy to miss. When I'm talking about goals, I'm not talking about I want every short video of mine to go viral, or by the end of the year, I want to double my subscribers. Those are your performance indicators. They will tell you whether you're on track to meet your goal or not. The goal needs to be aligned with your business objectives and your marketing team's objectives. What do you want to achieve? And I'll tell you a story why this is important. One of our large clients, they are a B2B, okay, I'll name the client, Schneider Electric, and their challenge was to reduce the number of calls they were getting to their call center.
Hmm.
So they make power tools, etc. Right? They were getting a lot of support requests, and their call center was overwhelmed. So what do? You increase the capacity of your so that you reduce the waiting time and people get support access to support quicker. Now that there's a huge cost associated with that. You need to build that capability. You need to train the people to take the queries. You need to expand the call center. But then they decided to use YouTube and have those videos. So when a support request comes, you share the video, the person sees it, executes it. And mostly they would not have to come back with a request because whatever query they had is answered, and even better than somebody on a phone because they can actually see what to do. But thinking about YouTube as a response to the need to increase call center capability is something unorthodox, I would say. And you do need, that openness to be able to explore the platform for that, to think of a business solution. So, what as an entrepreneur, even as a creator, what do you need from YouTube? Are you looking to build your personal brand? Are you looking to, talk about your brand story? Are you looking to demonstrate how your products and solutions solve the problems that your customers and clients face on a daily basis? What are you trying to do? That's important to know, and then have the KPIs that help you measure those. And then I would also say it's a good idea to hire an agency or an expert who understands the platform, who understands that there are technical aspects to YouTube that are probably a little more advanced than most other social media platforms. It starts with what videos should you create? What topics should you create videos on? Because you need to understand that what is the audience searching for? And what are the gaps, like what is the audience searching for, and what kind of keywords are coming up with responses that are not matching properly. So where is that opportunity area? And to do this you need an agency or a platform that has this kind of data, like Videomigo does. We've been culling data out for years now. We've used the YouTube API to get data from YouTube. We append it with topics, with sentiments, and on a daily basis, we process more than 3 billion videos that go into the platform. And that gives us unparalleled access to be able to research what are people looking for on YouTube. So for every niche, we are able to say, okay, these are the opportunity areas, these are the keywords, this is what you should be creating videos on. These are the popular things. These are the keywords that you must include in your script organically. Starting from there, you kind of set yourself up for success because you know that what you're creating, that content is pre-wired to it. So, but if you haven't done that, like you said, you have about 200 videos, then bringing in an expert can actually optimize your existing content. So the video SEO part, optimizing the meta, make sure that the best practices on the channel are followed. That also gives a boost to your channel. So the organic growth aspect of YouTube is important. It pays for itself, but it takes time when you're doing it organically. For you to see the results of an organic optimization, I would say most channels need about 6 months to start showing the results of the optimization. And when you boost it with paid media, what happens is that they help each other. So the paid media efforts actually help your organic growth. And when you're growing organically, that shows in your paid media because you see better results. And if you want to monetize your channel, then you do need to satisfy, there are certain conditions that you need to fulfill before you'll be able to monetize your channel. So, investing in paid media helps there as well.
Ankita, how expensive is YouTube from a paid marketing lens? Because I know, like, I mean, if you compare like Instagram to LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a very expensive platform to advertise on, right? Could you throw some light around, what are the kind of budgets individuals, especially from a creator lens, a person should have? Or let's say they're creating content, अगर एक वीडियो पे
Mm-hmm.
approximately कितना लगाना चाहिए to start with?
It's a very broad question of me. It's like asking what's the secret sauce on Instagram, and I understand that it's a point of anxiety for entrepreneurs and business owners. Like, when I want to put in my marketing budget, so how much do I put behind it? And I would say that you have to start with about $1,000 a month is a good place to start with. And again, I'm talking about businesses. The kind of businesses we work with, they have much more paid media budgets. But This allows your team, whoever is managing your paid media, to um, optimize ads, play a little, experiment a little, and then learn from what works for your audience. Because depending on your niche and your audience, the campaign, what necessarily works for another niche will not work for you.
Hmm.
So that learning is required, the experimentation is required, and I would say 12 weeks of a paid media campaign will then allow you to see results. It'll allow you to also optimize and learn what is happening on the platform, what works with your specific audience. And sometimes you want to target a specific audience that you don't necessarily have. For example, you let's take your coaching business. Um, Say tomorrow that you say, I want to get audiences specifically from Australia and US only. And I'm well known in GCC and UAE. I don't want to do any targeting here, but I want to get overseas clients now. So those ads will perform very different as compared to when you target only UAE audiences, where people must already be following you. They know they're interacting with your content. So the lot of factors into the budgeting and the KPIs that you want. More aggressive growth requirement, the more paid media support you need to put behind.
And also, like for Instagram, for instance, they say that you should post at least once a day, right? For
Mhm.
YouTube, what is the kind of frequency, duration of content? I mean, what would you say?
For YouTube, there's no rule that I've come across, and we do a lot of experiments. Also, because YouTube creating content is a very expensive proposition. It's a resource heavy proposition, I would say, even if you're creating web content. And the kind of clients we work with, they're enterprise level clients. So for them, there is a process, there are SOPs in place every step of the way. So, right from getting the script approved to most of them will have their own production agency. So, they will do the production and then the post processing. Getting one video out is a huge deal. And then the marketing budgets are split across several initiatives. So the the frequency at which you get content depends on what the brand can manage. Most often, we've seen that. So you need to post daily. No, that's not a rule in YouTube. Do you need to post every week, every month? There's no thumb rule there. You need to find the frequency that works for you, your business, and stick to it. Even as a entrepreneur trying to do a personal brand, if you feel that okay, I can do one um, you know long form video, and when I say long form, it's not a shorts video, it's not a 30-second video, and I can do that maybe once a month, that will suffice if you're taking time to plan that long form video, and it is well researched, the content provides value, and then you stick to that monthly schedule. You will still see growth over somebody who's erratic and who puts out 3 videos in a month and then a 6-month gap.
Fab. That lot of, I mean, it's so amazing. All the things that you're telling me, I wish there was someone to guide me when, I started out, because I think the first mistake that I made was I didn't look into what search keywords people were looking for on the platform. I was creating content on what I wanted to talk about, you know, all the topics that I thought were important and people should
Yeah.
listen to, rather than taking a
Yes.
scientific, or a data driven approach to it, rather. The second would be I also, I mean, as you know, content pre-production, production, post-production. I spent so much time and money on pre-production and production that I did not really put money where it should be, which was the marketing and paid media. That's a second insight when I speak to you that comes up for me. And I mean, no doubt, it's been a great learning curve. We also see, I also want to take like a few moments to, when often people are starting out, even for me, it was like, oh my God, I'm doing videos. It needs to be perfect, right? There needs to be the perfect light, the ambience, my makeup, my styling, the edit. It needs to
Yes.
look like a movie. I mean, YouTube today, um, what level of production is required, right? Like, do you think, I mean, I know that there is all kinds of videos, dog videos, cat videos, and like podcasts and high res videos, but if someone was just starting out, would, like what we're doing now, like would these Zoom conversations in today's time work? Is it a good idea to begin there? Or if you could throw some light on level of production.
Yeah. I think we've all been there, not clicking a picture because my makeup doesn't look perfect, and having that studio quality setup. Businesses and brands have been there because they have a certain brand identity to maintain. So, having a certain production quality is expected. Um, YouTube doesn't have written down rules, but I think the basic hygiene that your video should be clear, the resolution should be clear for most of the screens today. The audio should be clear. It should be. It should not have a buzz. It should not have background noise. You should be able to figure out what the person is saying. That's the bare minimum. And to get started, I think that's all you need. In terms of production quality,
Hmm.
what you need more than that is insightful content. And researching what your audience wants is searching for, and addressing that need is one. And the second, like you said, that you made videos about things that you thought people should know. And there's a saying here in at Touchstone. My boss always says that people don't know what they don't know. So how will they search for it? Which means you mix up your content with what you're aiming to tell them that you don't think they know about, but they should, and what they're searching. So, and they stumble upon things that'll delight them that they wouldn't have thought about. Oh, I never thought about this. Oh, something like this happens. I will not necessarily search, but that search will lead me to discover you. And then I will, gain much more. So you balance your content out, and that would be really helpful for growth.
Amazing. You know, I mean, you just kind of took me through the amount of pain I was going through because this is literally what I do, Ankita, which is, I mean, I'd also started a podcast series. It was literally like this, right? Like Zoom conversations. And I'd really invested in like, you know, the room that I'm sitting in right now, it's blurred, but this entire thing was like studio lit and all of that. And then I would brainstorm it, I would shoot it, find the expert. The post, production with editing was a pain in the, but today with AI, I think coming into marketing, a lot of these things have just become faster, right? Like, and then
Yeah.
we would sit and literally there was no way to export the transcript. So I would have a university, first year student literally typing out the
An
transcript of
intern.
the video
Yeah.
and then leverage that as a blog and, as some written content or email content. So, because one of the biggest learnings for me has been creating content is one thing, juicing it is another, right? Like
Repurposing it.
juicing it
Absolutely.
is completely another for different platforms. So, um,
Yes.
talk to us about today, how can people leverage AI in marketing, right? Because how can this process not be painful, because people get stuck. One is their own self
Yeah.
inhibition about them and whether what they are doing is good. Second is, how do I do it alone? So how can we remove these barriers to entry for individuals? I mean, for businesses, they still have a social media team or two or three people that can assist with it, right? But for people who are going out there and entrepreneurs today, think about starting a podcast, doing, I also want to dig into your brains on podcasts. Like, is it like saturated? Should it be done? Not be done? What do you think?
Okay. Is podcast saturated? Yes. Should it be done? Yes. And I think the place is saturated because lots of people have lots of things to say.
Hmm.
But the good part is there are lots of people wanting to listen also.
Hmm.
And for podcasts, I would say that it's very easy to start a podcast.
Hmm.
Anyone with a smartphone today and a decent laptop can start a podcast. You can just record on a voice note, get it to your laptop, and there are platforms, especially for audio podcasts only. There are platforms that allow you to upload your MP4 files and then clean up the background, automatically allow you to publish. Even I started a podcast in a fit of energy. But what happens is that when you don't keep at it, and I didn't, I think I put
Mm.
out 3 or 4 episodes, and then the rest of my life happened, and the podcast stopped growing.
30
Um,
episodes, I gave up. I gave up. I
right?
did 2 seasons and I gave up.
Yeah. So I think it's important for entrepreneurs, businesses to look at a podcast as a marketing campaign.
Hmm.
You plan it the way you would plan any other campaign. So who are your, and that totally depends on what kind of resources you have on board. By resources, I mean people, money, access to topics, access to data, access to speakers. And you can bring in your friends, you can bring in your partners, your clients, any subject matter experts within your company, outside your company, influencers, but you need time and money to contact these people, set up the meetings, have the talking points discussed, and do the actual recording. And like I said earlier, the post production, the promotion, that's equally important. So, treating it like any other marketing campaign, understanding that these are the steps they need to be done, and then evaluating what frequency you can do it, depending on the resources that you have available. Can you do a weekly podcast? No, not if you don't. If you have a dedicated team, yes. But if you don't, then can you do once a month? Can you do? If you can't do it once a month, then think about doing seasons. Like you said, you did 2 seasons. So you plan out a couple of episodes, either topical or seasonal. And again, with podcasts, as with YouTube content, you can use the content to entertain people. You can use it to educate people. You can use it to share personal stories, your brand story. You can use it to showcase the use cases of your products and services and how it makes somebody's life simpler or how it makes somebody's business more effective. Um, think about all these things, plan, execute, break, then repeat. That's the way, consistently getting it done. If you are like Avneet and me and you give up your podcast, then you're not going to get the benefit out of it. Consistency is the key there.
That's what I think it was. And again, right, I think that's where a lot of people give up because they try to do everything alone. And I got burnt out. I was like, dude, should I be doing my business or should I be sitting and just like, because my entire time was just going into all of this. And I was like, no, dude, this
I,
doesn't make sense. So I gave
yeah.
up on it. And AI wasn't AI at the time. So what would you say, Ankita, if someone had to leverage AI in YouTube content creation? Are there any go-to tools for you? How can they do that to make this entire process faster and more seamless?
Yeah. I think look at YouTube, not YouTube, look at AI as your brainstorming buddy. Whether you have a marketing team, whether you're trying to do it all yourself, whether you have freelancers or interns on board, it's a very important brainstorming platform where you can use it to bounce off ideas. To do some low level research, you will still need to do fact checking, but get some quick research done to get ideas on board, to create outlines for your content, um, to critique the content that you've created. And one big use case of AI that I've seen is the support you get for creative. Because sometimes you have an idea and it takes a long time to translate that idea into an explanation for a graphic design.
Hmm.
So when you use AI prompts, you can actually get an idea, the structure of your idea visually out, and people can see what the outcome is going to be like. When you're presenting it to a team, when you want to tell your intern, I want it done in this particular way, AI will help you do that. For content, it can help with the generation of your first draft of copy. It can help with tone correction. It can help with grammar correction. You want it to be in your brand voice. You can train the AI to, um, you know, change a particular copy from your what it is to your brand voice. But I do want to caution people that you should not use that as the final output. There needs to be a human layer over it. And specifically now, when you see there's an explosion of AI generated content today. And LinkedIn is full of Instagram and LinkedIn is full of, I generated 1 year's worth of reels in 1 hour and stuff like that. Um, it will not pay off when you use only AI content, because you are not you're not showcasing your own expertise, your unique point of view, and then you're no different from everybody else. Not just Google's algorithm, but even the humans that are consuming your content will be able to realize that this is AI generated content. And a lot of us are able to now look at it and say, oh, this is AI generated content. This person has not actually done it. So the question mark on your credibility comes up. The question mark on your authenticity comes up. So use AI as a tool, maybe as an extension of your team, but make sure that you add your expertise, your own experience, your own learning on top of that, and then bring it out. You asked me about the tools. I think ChatGPT, good old ChatGPT, is quite powerful for most of the things. And then there are tools available for image generation, and there are tools available for video generation. And I think there's a new tool that comes out every single day. So it's very difficult to keep on top of that. So yeah, I would say start with ChatGPT, and when you need specific tools, try using Canva AI. Try using Starry AI, and follow some of the folks on LinkedIn who are running these AI experiments every single day. I think Ruben is one of them who tests out every single platform for AI that comes out, and he has a newsletter that the result of his experiments, and he has lists of platforms. I've stopped trying to keep up with all the platforms, because for every use case there are 10 platforms right now. So yeah.
Superb. Thank you. I think with that, we should bring it to a wrap. Any last thoughts from you, Ankita?
Oh, this has been lovely. Chatting about marketing, YouTube, always, like I said, people have lots to say. I'm one of those persons. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much, Avneet, for having me. I'm truly honored.
Thank you to you. Thank you for taking the time, sharing your learnings, sharing a lot of these things, which I'm sure are extremely valuable. Thank you for being with us, Ankita.
It's been my pleasure, guys. And if you need to know more about YouTube, then Touchstorm and Video Amigo are your go-to. Check out our pages on LinkedIn. And if you have any specific queries, hit me up on LinkedIn.
Super. Ankita, one question has just come in, which is, how do we distinguish between posers and authentic AI practitioners in video?
That's a very good question. And I don't have the answer to that right now,
Can I
because,
answer it?
go ahead,
If
please.
you're married, look at your wife in reality and then look at her with filters. Look at it often enough for you to know the difference. Sorry, dark humor, but super. At that
That's
note, we've gone
lovely.
way above time today. But thank you, Ankita, once again.
Yeah.
Lots of love.
Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
being with us. Please be backstage with us whilst I wrap this up.
Knowledge, network, and capital